What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Post Position Podcast. I'm your co-host, Jack Duffy. On today's episode, Connell and Brock give you all a breakdown of the entire All-Star weekend, Aaron Gordon's snub in the All-Star game, the three-point contest, and the most exciting All-Star game, honestly, ever. So, let's get into it.
Alright guys, welcome to the next episode of the Post Position Podcast, brought to you by the Pan and Lines. Joining me today is Brock. As always, you can find him on Twitter at LandesBrock. Jack couldn't join us today. You will be with him later in the week. You can follow him on Twitter at JackDuffyTPL. Kind of outline for today, we've got everything All-Star Weekend breaking down for you. The Rising Stars, Skills Night, and then the All-Star Game, and then also the second edition of our Fresh Meter. Brock, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I'm enjoying this weather. I appreciate it. Thanks for asking, Jack. How about yourself? How you doing?
Oh, I'm just fantastic. I mean, it was a great All-Star weekend. I'm just ready to go into it.
All right, fantastic is it's a strong adjective right there, right? Fantastic is an adjective.
Oh, yeah, I feel very strongly about it. I felt it was a great one.
You seem passionate about it. Let's get it cracking.
Yeah. All right, first off, we had the Rising Stars game, and it was pretty – I mean, it was all right. I mean, there really wasn't much to it. Obviously, the United States won as we expected. I loved the last 2 minutes. It was just like a free-for-all dunk contest in a live game. It was just everybody was going at it. Brandon Clark, and then you just had Zion and John Morant. I thought it was awesome. Some really crazy dunks that were attempted but didn't go in. What was your thoughts on the Rising Star game?
Yeah, I'm just going to echo what you said. With the Rising Stars game, I didn't pay much attention other than in the fourth quarter. All over social media, that video was circulating when in the last minute there was at least like 3 dunks attempted. It was more so showcase than it was an actual basketball game, which is why I think viewership may be low for the Rising Stars game. But nonetheless, it was cool to see some of that young talent on the same court together. And, of course, Zion impressed in that game. He was high-flying. So it was a cool game for all of them to get together, but it was probably the least enjoyable part of All-Star Weekend, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at some of the games that people had. I mean, obviously, stats and the Rising Star games don't matter, but R.J. Barrett led the way for the world, shooting 11 of 17, 27 points. Brandon Clark right behind him with 22. And for the world side, the 3 best scorers were off the bench. Colin Sexton, I think that is Miles Bridges, and Eric Pascal, both kind of just dominated out there. And, I mean, they had 23, 20, and 21 points. I felt they did great. I loved – did you see Luka's half-court shot? That was like right to end the half. I thought that was a great shot. I mean, the thing about the Rising Star game is just the fun things, the showcasing. It's really not about who wins or loses, but I loved it.
I agree. I was really impressed with the game that Barrett had, though. And a lot of people were talking about how important it is for Barrett in his development to play with basketball players that have some semblance of a basketball IQ because, of course, on this depleted New York Knicks team, it's not a huge indicator of how talented he is or how talented he could be because he's playing with a bottom-feeding team. But aside from scoring nearly 30 points, he gave out 5 assists, grabbed 6 rebounds, and had 3 steals. So he filled the box score nearly every way possible, and I think it's going to be very special to see what New York can have with both R.J. Barrett and potentially Kevin Knox if he can start to develop there as well.
I mean, I just want to say one of my favorite developments as an NBA player, I like Michigan. I just like Michigan basketball. There's my team I've always just rooted for. I was really excited to see Moritz Wagner become an NBA player. I loved him in college when they were making that run a couple years back. I thought he was a great part of the team. I like him. I love Duncan Robinson.
Yeah, I was going to say D-Rob in the three-point contest too.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Duncan when he was in Michigan when he transferred over. I mean, I don't know personally or anything like that, but I just remember watching him. He was just a great shooter. But Moritz I just have been so glad to see how he's developed with Washington. I've been really proud watching him. He had 16 points off the bench in this Rising Star game, Grant, but he's just been a great stretch 5 for that team, and I just have been really excited to see him develop. It just sucks he's been hurt a little bit, but I'm really excited to see him going forward. I think he's going to be a good piece for Washington going forward, and I'm really just excited to see how he progresses.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, so I'll go into the next thing. Do you have anything else on the Rising Star game?
No, not really.
Next night, we had the skills night, skills competition, 3-point contest, dunk contest. My predictions beforehand, I said Spencer Dinwiddie, Buddy Hield, Derek Jones Jr. I went 2 for 3. What were your predictions? How did you end up when you're
For the entire All-Star weekend, I only had one correct prediction, and it was Team USA winning the Rising Stars game. I pretty much got every single prediction wrong by a long stride. I mean, in the skills challenge, I think I took Chris Middleton. In the 3-point contest, I took Joe Harris. And for the dunk contest, I took Dwight Howard, which we can talk about. But those are all very underwhelming picks, Jack.
I mean, I felt like skills challenge. It was a very interesting skills challenge. I think all the guards were knocked out right away. It was all big men left. It was Bam Adebayo, Sabonis, Siakam, and was it Middleton? Was Middleton the fourth, or was it Tatum?
I believe so, yeah. But, I mean, I have a problem with the skills challenge, right? I thought the dunk contest was okay. I haven't really been entertained in a couple of years with the dunk contest, and I had my problems with this one as well. But the skills challenge just seems so stupid and redundant to me. It's like every possession of a basketball game now, a player dribbles down the court and shoots a three. So to have them running through these obstacles and make these passes through the obstacles and then run down and shoot a layup and then take a pull-up three, it's almost like insulting, in my opinion, to have NBA players do this. I think they really need to amp up the skills challenge, and it's something that was needed first, but now it's another challenge and part of this weekend that's almost becoming unwatchable. It's like an afterthought.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have a guy of ridiculous speed, like a John Wall in his prime or something, it does feel like bigs are taking over the skills challenge, mainly because big men have become more skilled with the ball. They're better ball handlers. They're more agile now than they used to be. And just bigger guys equal bigger legs equals more ground they cover. So, I mean, they're getting up and down the court pretty quickly, and they're able to shoot threes. I mean, you got guys like Sabonis and Siakam who can shoot the three, and they're just playing incredibly well in the skills challenge just because they're so much bigger than a guy like Dinwiddie or another guy like Patrick Beverly. I think that's a big reason as to why you're seeing so many big men just take over.
It's a big man's league now, and a lot of the offensive facilitators league-wide are 6'8" and over. You look at Ben Simmons, Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Pascal Siakam, guys that initiate offense are over 6'8". So to have these big men winning the skills challenges, it's no longer a surprise. I mean, even dating back to a couple of years ago with DeMarcus Cousins and Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Davis all competing, even Joel Embiid, they're really dominating the skills challenge. And I think it's become almost insulting to have the players do a couple of dribble moves, a layup, and then shoot a pull-up 3-point shot. If they miss that, keep firing away from above the break, because that's a spot where a lot of players can knock down a three with ease. So I think they really need to amp up the skills challenge. But kudos to both Adam Silver and Chris Paul, because the All-Star Game format was phenomenal, which, of course, we'll get into.
All right, so what would you want as adjustments to the skills competition? I have a couple of things I would want to add, but what would you want to change to the skills competition or add to it?
I don't know. I really would have to sit down and brainstorm. I'm curious to hear what you would like, because then I guess I could piggyback off of that.
Well, I guess another part of skill is ball handling, and if you're looking for something more intricate than just dribbling, maybe like you have to implement a crossover somewhere, or you have to make an elusive dribble to get around something, somewhere along that matter.
Well, for me, I think it's like every player in the NBA can go between their legs. Every player can cross over. Every player can do behind the backs and spins. So I think you really need to get outside of the box with creating a different format for the skills challenge. Because if you watched, they were doing a breakdown before the All-Star game of each individual player, and they were using different types of cameras and angles. And one of the plays was a Trae Young layup from this season, where Trae Young scored on the layup, but he attracted a double team. There wasn't a pick and roll that he utilized. He attracted a double team, and he baited the defender to kind of seal off and go towards Atlanta's center on the floor at the time by putting the ball. I don't even know how to describe the move. I'm kind of lost for words describing it. He didn't palm it, but he went through the legs, but it was backwards, and he kind of the motion of his hips. I don't know. It's almost undescribable what he did, but he baited one defender and broke another one down en route to the basket and then scored a layup. And it's just stuff like that where you see that and you scratch your head and you're like, how did that guy do that? Or some moves, like the step back moves that James Harden creates and then shooting it off of a step back off one leg with one hand and then his 3-point shot goes in, or like how Steph Curry used to shoot from the tunnel and make his 3-point shots. There's stuff like that. It makes you scratch your head and you're like, how in the world is a human being capable of doing that? I think the NBA should try to implement something like that as opposed to just having a player dribble back and forth on a basketball court, go through a couple of obstacles, and then shoot a shot. It's more so a race against the clock than it is a showcase of skills, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I do think now that they've made some adjustments to the All-Star game, they're realizing it's going to attract a lot of viewership, being more competitive and being more entertaining. I do think we'll get more. I think there's going to be some adjustments to the dunk contest going forward, and I think the skills challenge will probably get adjusted going forward also. So going to the next event, we had the three-point contest. I thought the three-point contest was pretty solid. The second half of it was. Like I said, I had Buddy Hield. You had Chris Middleton. Jack, I forget.
Joe Harris.
So I hit on that. I had Buddy Hield. I mean, it felt like it was I'm trying to think who the four that moved. The four that moved on were very good, but the other four were not so hot. So Buddy Hield, Davis Bertans, Devin Booker, and do you know who the fourth was that moved on?
I think it was three.
Oh, three move on. But those three were just they shot incredible, shot the lights out. Levine was close. I think at 22, and then Bertans at 26 is the one in third place. But Booker was incredible. Buddy Hield caught fire. Bertans caught fire also. The top half of it felt very good, but I mean the first half of it was very sluggish to start. You had a lot of guys getting like 18. Trae Young choked. A lot of people thought Trae Young, he's the easy pick. Did nothing. Joe Harris, underwhelming. It was just I was rooting for Buddy Hield, just kind of predicting on the pod, but I mean, it was all right. I mean, I feel like the three-point contest that's developing a little bit, changing. They added that Mountain Dew three-pointer shot.
Yeah, which was fantastic in my opinion. I'll use your adjective there. That was a fantastic addition in my opinion.
Yeah, I like that. It's like it was an in-betweener. It mixed it up a little bit. Obviously, some of the former competition guys got thrown for a loop. You saw Joe Harris kind of ran past it, came back, and shot it off balance, and it kind of messed up his groove a lot. But that's something new to get adjusted to. I want to see something made that contributes or kind of helps the deep three-pointers, like the Trae Young, Steph Currys of the world, to add maybe like another rack that's like behind the middle rack, a little further back, and it's like three balls or something and worth a couple more points. I think that'd be something interesting to add a little more time to the clock. But overall, I mean, I think the three-point contest is something that's always usually very set in stone and very rigid, but it's good. Like, there's nothing really to discredit about it. How did you feel about three-point contest?
Yeah, I like the three-point contest, and that's the direction in which the National Basketball Association is moving. So I think the three-point contest is presently bigger than the slam dunk contest, and I think it should draw more of a crowd. And if you think about basketball and the way the game has shifted, 20, 30 years ago, the three-point shot was essentially obsolete. So basketball players had a niche, and they shot from 16 feet, maybe 18 feet, but mostly inside the perimeter. Now you can't go to a court and find anybody shooting inside of the perimeter. Almost every field goal attempt is from beyond the arc. If you go to a rec court, a YMCA, a park, an NBA court, wherever you may be, a majority of the shots are coming from beyond the arc. And that's how basketball is now. It's empowering people to shoot. And I think because of that, the three-point contest is the most intriguing contest now. And a lot of people can dunk, but way more can shoot a three ball that can't dunk. So I think that new addition with the Mountain Dew ball, and it's only one shot, and you move it further back from beyond the perimeter, was an awesome addition. And I thought Trae Young would have thrived here because Trae Young was hot from the corner during the season despite a limited amount of attempts, and he leads the NBA in the most three-pointers made from 30-plus feet. So I thought he was going to give the advantage with the Mountain Dew balls, but he didn't. Buddy Hield looked awesome. He did really catch fire. I think my favorite shooter, though, must be Devin Booker from that whole contest. I mean, every shot Devin Booker shot, it was wet like water. It didn't touch anything, and that's one of the most aesthetically pleasing things to watch as a basketball viewer when players shoot and the ball goes right through the net, and the only thing it touches is the bottom tips of the netting. And that was nearly every Devin Booker make.
That's perfection right there. I mean, You just described the perfect 3-point shot. But yeah, I mean, I felt like it was great. I mean, overall, I mean, like the top three guys, I think you're going to see them back. I mean, the 3-point contest contracts a lot more of the stars of 3-point shooting than dunk contest because I mean, it's just a lot less physical wear and tear. Like these guys are still going to put up like 30 shots in practice. Like it's something they're still going to do, and they get the best. Like you've seen guys like Steph, you've seen the best 3-point shooters do it. You've seen Steph in it. You've seen Clay, Booker, Hield, Joe Harris. Like you get the best guys. It's not like you're putting out there like Furkan Korkmaz. I mean, who I love Furkan Korkmaz, he's a good 3-point shooter, but he's not one of the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like you said, a lot of good players want to do this competition because there's no physical wear and tear, first and foremost, and secondly, you don't have to have theatrics. You don't have to do a skit. You don't have to come out in a costume. You don't have to have a player stand 5 feet from the basket holding a basketball behind their head. All you have to do is go to your rack and shoot the ball. You pick where the money rack is, so you get to decide where your best shot on the floor is, and you get to optimize how you're gonna score your points. And it's a competition where the fans really get into it. If you remember, there were certain guys that went on 5, 6, 7 shot streaks, and the crowd got engaged, and even the broadcast did. And that was something with Zach LaVine. LaVine hit every shot from the corner, it felt like, and yet he didn't put his money ball rack there. And that's something LaVine probably should have known, especially on his own home court. And I thought LaVine was going to be a sleeper guy, and he did perform well. But the thing with this competition now is there's so many skilled shooters from deep. There's so many guys that are marksmen out there that 22 to 24 points really isn't enough anymore. And that's not bad, but there's guys hitting 27, 28, 29-point thresholds. So, I mean, it's just really tough to compete with guys that can shoot the lights out from that deep.
Yeah, I think one of my favorites in recent memory, I'm trying to remember who it was, but they nailed like their last 8 shots in a row. Or it was like their last 5. It was like their money rack.
Curry.
Curry. And the commentators were just really getting into it. And they're like, he needs 5 more to tie it. 4 more, 3 more, 2 more, 1 more. And like they were just kept on. It was Chris Webber.
Yeah, Chris Webber, yep.
And I just I loved how the commentators were getting into it. We'll talk about more of the commentators. I just loved how involved they were and everything. They were lively. They were good commentators for it. I think it was Dwayne Wade, Reggie Miller. I forget who else, but I felt like it was a really good group they had. But yeah, I mean, back to the 3-point contest. Maybe one adjustment I think they could add to it is maybe I think I mentioned like maybe 2 to 3 balls behind. Maybe they just put 1 Mountain Dew ball back in deep range. I think that's maybe something they could do instead.
Yeah, it's just a matter of how far off you want to pull a guy from the arc. And it's like if most of your racks are right off of that arc and then you put one 10 feet back, you kind of have to adjust time too because it's a pain to get all the way out there and then run to the next rack. And like you said, it was an adjustment this year for some guys going from that rack on the wing to the one placed right in between the rack at the top of the key and the wing. It was, I think, 4 feet beyond the arc, if I'm correct. So you have to run from the wing a couple feet back to that one ball, and then you got to run forward now to above the break and then run back 4 more feet and then run back to the wing. So a couple of guys had to make that adjustment. But I think one of the guys that best adjusted was Buddy Hield, and he looked really good moving. He looked really good from the corners, and he's another guy that just caught a groove and he couldn't be stopped.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Has it always been you can choose where your money rack is? I feel like it used to be the last one was always the money rack.
Yes, I believe so. There's one money ball at the end of every rack, but now I think you could put your money rack in one location where you find strongest. It's been that way for a couple of years now.
I always thought the money rack was always the last one in the corner until a couple of years back. I didn't think that was something they always did. I did like that adjustment because 3-point shooters, like sometimes they're not always best in the corner. Like you saw, like Bertans, maybe they're best from the top, or from maybe like guys like they're better off the wing. Like I like that adjustment they added. It kind of suits all 3-point shooters. But yeah, I mean, overall, I felt the 3-point contest was pretty great. The next one, I think, kind of caused a lot of controversy. Dunk contests. I had Derrick Jones Jr. winning. Who'd you have?
I had Dwight Howard, unfortunately, and it pains me to say that, but I took Dwight Howard, Jack.
I forget who Duffy had. I'm sure he'll probably throw it in there somewhere. But overall, I felt bad. I'm like rooting for Derrick Jones Jr. and then I'm like, oh, Aaron Gordon should have won. But I'm like, hey, my prediction was right. But
All
I
right.
mean, it was.
Well, let me start with Dwight Howard, right? I should have listened to you and Jack, and I didn't really want to listen to age and the thing about diminishing athleticism and him losing bounce. I knew these things were all true, but in my heart, I wanted Dwight Howard to win. Now, the first dunk he came out with was good enough. It would suffice for the first round. It was the one where he palmed the ball and kind of did a pose midair and then dunked it. So that's an honest 8, which is good enough for the first round. But Dwight Howard really, really disappointed. And I'm not sure if it was because the dunk he picked, I'm not sure if it was because he's not athletic to pull off another dunk or he wanted the attention of the dunk to be on Kobe Bryant because he paid homage with the Superman costume and 24 etched right in the middle. But regardless, the dunk he pulled off was a pretty standard dunk. There was nothing abnormal about the dunk. And in the dunk contest, you really have to perform abnormal dunks if you want to win. Now, whatever. I didn't get Dwight Howard correct. I had a problem with this dunk contest. I think the format needs to be fixed. I think the judging panel was a little inadequate this year. And, of course, there's controversy surrounding Dwayne Wade's final number pick and Scottie Pippen. Somehow Candace Parker's in that mix too. But I didn't really find any of the dunks that special. I think there was one or two that really stood out to me. But, Jack, I'm curious to know what your take is on this dunk contest before I go on a little tangent.
I feel it's not the scoring. I get it. I don't really blame the scoring. I do think there needs to be an overhaul. I think there's something. Obviously, this is not 1995 anymore. These dunks are different. It is every dunk is an incredible dunk, but 10s shouldn't be handed out like candy. They're great dunks, but I think they need to be readjusted on a scale now.
That's exactly right. It's like if in the first or second round you give someone a 50, that's the norm now. You really have to give everything a 50 after that point because if they outperform that, you can't give it anything higher than a 50.
Yeah. It kind of felt like towards the end there, the people that the what is it called? The judges kind of had their people they wanted to win, and they were just like, these are all great dunks, and we're just going to keep going back and forth. But I think we just need to adjust our scoring. Like we felt that Aaron Gordon did better than Derrick Jones, or vice versa, so they lowered their scores on the other people to kind of make sure that the person they wanted to win won. Which I get the point of, but it kind of took away like dunking over a 7'5" guy. I mean, that's a great dunk. And that in last night's or Saturday night's dunk contest, that should have been a 50. But in the reality of things, it kind of got skewed because they felt Derrick Jones Jr.'s double tap dunk or whatever else he was doing, like off the side of the backboard, was better. So I do think there needs to be an overhaul that, I mean, like even if you miss a dunk, you still get a 4. Like you should get a 0 for that. Mm-hmm. Like I do think there needs to be a readjustment to the scoring overhaul and kind of set a scale. Like this athleticism is a 10. It should only happen once or twice at a dunk contest, and everything is relative to that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I agree.
That, but I just think that is where they need to go with it going forward.
I think with the judging panel, there does need to be kind of a set of rules or a standard. I think there are too many trigger-happy judges, let's say, in giving out 10s. I think there are a few dunks that warrant them, but overall, the problem with the dunk contest, in my opinion, is that now there's not so many skits or theatrics. It was really only Pat Connaughton who dressed up, paying homage to White Man Can't Dunk, and Derrick Jones brought out the birthday cake and took flight because his nickname is Airplane Mode. That's why there was that little landing strip he ran in between the cheerleaders. But I think not having theatrics and skits kind of takes away the entertainment aspect. And another problem is that there's only so many ways you could dunk a basketball. And after a certain point, a lot of the guys just copy dunks or do dunks in very similar ways. It's just a different celebrity they bring out, or the ball is placed in a different location. And I'm not saying that you have to do away with the dunk contest, but there's definitely a problem here with lacking creativity. And I was a little annoyed that Derrick Jones won this competition. I love Derrick Jones, but my problem was that he did the same dunk 5 times in a row. Every time he dunked it, it was a through-the-legs dunk. One time it was off the backboard. One time it was over somebody. And again, it's an incredible feat to be able to do that, but at a certain point, you have to assess creativity too. And I think Aaron Gordon was more creative in the air and pulling off dunks than Derrick Jones. My personal favorite dunk of the night was when Markelle Fultz threw the alley-oop pass off the side of the backboard, and Aaron Gordon caught it, cussed the basketball, did a spin in midair. It was almost like a 180, I guess, and dunked it. I thought that was the best dunk of the night. But you give Derrick Jones credit because his first dunk, he dunked over Bam, which he used Bam's shoulder to push off of. He used leverage there. And Aaron Gordon, he did clear a 7'5" center as best he could, but he used leverage there. So a lot of these dunks, they're using leverage. They're pushing off. They're recreating similar dunks. To me, it's not as entertaining as it should be, and I'm not really sure how the NBA can fix that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I felt there should have been a tie, or they should have done what was kind of mentioned. Sixers guy Christian Crosby was the MC guy, and you kind of could hear him over the background. The commentators was before that last round of dunks was going to be the last round, and then they were going to go to a judge's vote between the five, and they'd each have to pick a winner. So I feel like maybe something like that should have come a little bit sooner, because you got to think these guys are probably prepping for the dunk contest for a couple weeks. Not like saying they're doing their dunks, but they're brainstorming like, all right, what am I doing? Like, they probably plan out about 5 dunks. And you got to think, they're like 7 dunks in at the end there, and they're kind of just like spitballing, like, what do we do next? Like,
now, so let me ask you, do you think a solution would be, and you can't enforce this, but do you think a solution would be if you have, let's say, 4 of the most premier athletes and players in the NBA involved in the dunk contest? So let's say Giannis Antetokounmpo, Ben Simmons, LeBron, John Morant, potentially Zion. Do you think that solves the problem? Is that a solution?
I don't know. I think a panel of dunkers is probably the best thing. I mean, I don't know where else you would go for. I mean, I feel like the people that have been in the dunk contest the most or have been experiencing dunking should be the ones judging.
So well, no. I meant actually participating in the contest.
Oh, I don't know if they would ever be able to do it. I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
I think, of course, I definitely think that solves a problem right there. I mean, they're the best basketball players in the world, and better yet, the best athletes in the world. So I'd much rather see a guy like Ben Simmons than Pat Connaughton, because Ben Simmons is probably going to do something a little more impressive than whatever Pat Connaughton did. And there's no disrespect at Pat Connaughton, but I wasn't impressed.
I mean, I think it would be great, but it's just I don't think you can convince them. You got to think this is a very physical task. It could be possibly dangerous.
Come on.
But you got to think, though.
They all do the crap in the All-Star game. They all do their crazy dunks and they don't play. The first 3 quarters of the All-Star game yesterday was unwatchable. I watched all 3 quarters. I thought it was unwatchable. I don't know. I don't like watching basketball where players don't run back and set up on defense, and there's not a cohesion and there's not a flow to the game. I don't like just watching people run back and forth doing suicides in the court and dunking. I'm not really impressed by that type of stuff. And this is probably a boomer take, especially coming from a 20-year-old, but that type of stuff it's unwatchable to me. So I sat through the first 3 quarters. I didn't enjoy it, and I thought the 4th quarter was phenomenal. But they all dunk. They all do that, and they do the windmills and 360s in their warm-ups. They do it in the All-Star game. So I don't know why they don't participate in the dunk contest, but I think that would definitely be a potential solution.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be a solution. I just don't think you can convince the players into doing it. Granted, whether their takes on being injuries is right or wrong, it's just I don't think you're going to be able to change a player's mindset in that. But I think it'd be great to see, but I mean, you've never seen LeBron in the dunk contest. John Morant's kind of is already out of it. He said, I'm not doing it. And Zion said that, I was watching call press conferences. He told Ben Golliver if the Pelicans were the clear-cut number 1 favorite, he would do it. So I don't think you're going to see him in the dunk contest. You're kind of not going to see some of the best athletic players in the NBA most likely for a while, or for maybe even ever. I just don't think that's going to be something you're ever going to see. You haven't seen it for the last 20 years, and I don't know if you're not going to see a young guy like Zion or Ja do it. I mean, I don't know who's going to do it.
I don't know why. Is it injury? Is that what it is, or is there something that I'm not paying attention to that I'm forgetting right now? I don't know why they don't do it.
I do. If it's just like a risky, I mean, the All-Star game, it's a game, but it's a controlled environment. Like, you're asking a guy to do an athletic player who's getting paid a lot of money to stay healthy to do ridiculous dunks that their odds are they could not even pull off or be very risky in doing. So I get why they don't want to do it. It's
Kobe did it, Mike did it, Dominique did it, Vince Carter did it, and now we got to watch Pat Connaughton and Derek Jones do it.
You're to hate on Derek Jones Jr. As much as we give him smack, is one of the best dunkers in the
Yeah, he's got the nickname airplane mode for a reason, but the guy did the same dunk 4 times in a row, 5 times in a row. At a certain point, Jack Duffy was talking about his air brakes. I only saw him use them once. I thought Aaron Gordon was way more creative the whole contest.
I feel like like I said, I felt like it kind of just like he kept doing dunks and there was nothing much else he could really think of. Granted, maybe he did 1 or 2 of those while it was still he could have planned for it. But I think what he did, I think it was a decent amount. He dunked off. He jumped. I mean, you said he kind of pushed off, but it was from like a solid like couple of feet back from the rim. It was a really cool dunk.
Yeah,
I feel like Aaron Gordon. So I mean, overall, I think he did was pretty cool.
Yeah, altogether, it was a how should I say this? It was a good showing from the young bucks out there for the dunk contest, but Aaron Gordon has been robbed of the award twice, and he is potentially a guy you can look at that salvaged the dunk contests, and now he intends to never compete in that contest again. So I don't know if it was due to controversy. I don't know if that was a census judge decision, but Derek Jones goes home the slam dunk champion, and Aaron Gordon has nothing to show for it, unfortunately.
All right. Well, let's go into the main event here. The first thing I want to say about the All-Star game, Adam Silver announced, I think it was Saturday night, that the All-Star MVP was going to be renamed the Kobe Bryant MVP, All-Star MVP, or Kobe Bryant MVP. I thought that was a great move. Very simple thing. It's just great. I mean, Adam Silver kind of said he embodied an All-Star MVP very well, and I think that was a great quote by Adam Silver. I just think it was a great move. I thought it was a great way to honor Kobe. I mean, what did you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. I thought the concept this year was great, and I think that gesture was awesome, and they paid their respects with a very long tribute prior to the game, and I wanted to break that down too, because this season was a little different in that they didn't have an entertainment committee of players that were dancing like they used to with like Dwayne Wade and LeBron and Derrick Rose years ago. But this time they had Common, and Common was on the mic. He was the MC, and he had a little individual, I guess, poetry, a sonnet. I don't know, man. I'm too far removed from English class, so I don't know what it's even called, but he had a little refrain for each individual player, which I thought was a neat touch this year too.
Yeah, I loved his intros. I mean, everything he was saying, I loved it. I loved his little tribute he had to Chicago and Kobe in the beginning. I thought that was great. I felt Common did a fantastic job. I think everybody kind of agrees in his intros and in the introduction as a whole.
Yeah, he was feeling that. He was definitely feeling himself during those intros. But listen, bro, here's another thing I didn't get, right? Now, of course, Chance the Rapper, Chicago-based. You got to have him at the All-Star Weekend. I thought, I mean, I'm filled with takes today, right? And most of them sound like boomer takes. But Adam Levine, Chance the Rapper, and DJ Khaled, like this is – last year we were listening to J. Cole and Meek Mill, and I don't think this is just a personal rap preference thing. Maybe the NBA is just out of touch with what people our generation are listening to and doing.
I have a take that kind of fits alongside with this.
You have the TikTok one, I assume, right?
Well, that one. But before that, you have Kanye West sitting courtside. Now, Brock, answer me this. Where's Kanye West from?
Chicago, man. Born and raised.
What did Chance the Rapper sing? He sang Ultralight Beam.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, with Kanye.
Kanye song, and Kanye is sitting courtside. How is he not in that?
And just a couple of days ago, there was the Life of Pablo anniversary release date.
It's just Kanye is probably the biggest Chicago rapper name-wise overall. he's just one of the biggest rappers games from Chicago. I think he is the biggest rapper from Chicago.
Yeah, the introductions they were playing. 'Cause I'm coming home again. Maybe we should start again.
Yeah, Homecoming, one of my favorite Kanye songs. It's just, I don't know, maybe he didn't want to participate. That very well could have been it. But if we want to participate in the NBA, just shut it down. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, he was just chilling with his lady courtside with J. Cole. I thought last year was awesome with Meek Mill and J. Cole. This year, I understand why Chance the Rapper was the halftime performance. But I don't know why the NFL and the NBA, they keep bringing these washed celebrities. It's like, Adam Levine, when was the last time Adam Levine was relevant? And I don't know if it's because I'm 20 and that's not the music I listen to, or like J-Lo and Shakira. I understand you have to cater to an audience that doesn't necessarily watch the sport year-round. So if people are just tuning in on a one-time basis, these are probably the best celebrities you can yield for that performance. But I don't know, man. I thought they could have done a lot better. Damian Lillard apparently had a horrific performance rapping that did not receive a well reception on social media. I don't know. I thought the talent was definitely lacking with both the halftime performances and even courtside. You didn't see that many celebrities at the dunk contest either.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't seem like there was. I mean, Guy Fieri was like all over the place. He was holding Stephen A. Smith back at the Rising Stars game, which was hilarious. But yeah, another thing you kind of bunch upon TikTokers. Look, are we old, Brock? Like, what the hell is it? What is this like renegade thing?
I thought it was hilarious trying to my parents have no idea what TikTok is, and they were trying. My mom asked what it was, and my dad was trying to explain it to my mom, and I thought it was hilarious trying to explain it to them because they didn't really understand it either. But I feel like I can't even pinpoint when TikTok blew up. Like when did TikTok blow up? When did it become this famous? Like,
I don't know. Like, it's just apparently it's like really big overseas. That's what I heard. It's like, well, that's where a majority of the demographic original.
I mean, it seems like it's right in our age wheelhouse. Like the content creators there and the people that watch it seem to be our age, not 19, 20 in the adolescence. But I don't know. Like it doesn't have any appeal to me. If I knew that's how you could get famous on the internet, just throwing it back and doing stuff like that, I'd been doing that a long time ago.
There are some that have like Vine appeal. I've checked it out. There's certain things that appeal to me. Like there's like Vine, like there's funny memes in there I've seen. Like there's like this one guy who like acts like a 40-year-old dad, like yelling at a little kid. It's like stuff like you would think of. Yeah. There was one I saw where this guy was like impersonating like a hallway monitor, or like a teacher on a bus.
Yeah.
And she was like complaining about the vibe. Stuff like that was funny, but like the dancers, I don't get.
Yeah,
like,
that's why Aaron Gordon lost, man. You know what? Now that you mention that, I'm kind of glad Aaron Gordon lost because he had the audacity to bring out the 3 TikTok dancers who brought in that whole slew of cheerleaders, and they all did this renegade TikTok dance at half court while Aaron Gordon did his dunk. That alone is the reason Aaron Gordon lost.
And then there's like sports one that came on my feed, and it would be like NBA players. It would be like kids that are trying to get like, it's like, did you know that Paul Pierce played for the Wizards? Like,
I had to mute Renegade from my timeline. That's all I saw. I texted my group chat. I said, let me see this Renegade dance one more time, because that was all I saw. It was really like TikTok and this Renegade dance dominated All-Star Weekend.
It was definitely. It's ridiculous, and it's only. I feel like it's just ridiculous. I miss just give me Twitter and Instagram.
There you go. But I do think we do really need to talk about this fourth quarter because the formatting was amazing. For the first 3 quarters, like I said, I watched it. I didn't enjoy it too much watching that type of basketball. It's a showcase for the first 3 quarters. It's dribbling, it's dunking, it's alley-oops, it's things of that sort to kind of engage the audience that likes that. One thing I didn't like, though, was for, I believe, the entire duration of the first quarter. I'm not sure if it was all 3, but I know for sure it was the first. There was music playing in the arena the whole first quarter. It was almost like it was like a shoot-around. And it was less of a broadcast and more so of a showcase. But that's to be expected. And then when the late third quarter rolled around, like like sub 3 minutes in the third quarter, that's when the basketball action really picked up. And the format, thanks to Chris Paul and Adam Silver, really warranted the best out of these athletes. And it was awesome to see in that fourth.
It was fantastic. I went back this morning and watched it again. It was just, it's incredible. It's literally what I've been asking for years, is a competitive all-star game, playing defense, going at each other. And, like, even if it was just one quarter, like, I loved it. Like, I'm fine with just one quarter. Because that's really all you need.
Yeah.
And it was just incredible. I mean, Embiid's dream shake on LeBron. Like, it was just Kyle Lowry running all over the place. Chris Paul hitting dagger threes out there. Like, it was incredible.
Yeah.
The only gripe I had with it was, and I think a lot of people kind of feel the same way, but it's even really not that much of a gripe. It's just ending on a free throw. It kind of feels like a cop-out. Like, even when we're playing, like, when you're playing the park, you ever end on free throws?
No, you can never end like that.
No.
But
I mean,
go ahead.
it's just, like, overall, I thought it was great. I mean, everybody was hustling out there, playing their damn hardest. And it was really just great to see, and something I think we'll remember for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this was the best All-Star game that I've ever seen, and I think that opinion will resonate with a lot of people. I saw a trend during the game, which the broadcast showed. Through the first three quarters, there was 49 dunks, which comes out to an average about 16 per quarter. At the time they showed this trend in the fourth quarter, there was only one dunk in the fourth. So there was under 3 dunks in the fourth quarter, whereas there was 49 through the first 3. But aside from that, in the fourth quarter, I loved that they took the time away. It was an untimed quarter to hit a target score because, Jack, there was only one commercial break during that entire quarter.
It was incredible.
You got over 15 minutes of pure basketball action with no commercial break. And it was the best players on the planet sharing the court together, and they were all playing. They were all hustling. I mean, on defense, they wanted the basketball. They wanted to force turnovers. They wanted to force the opponent to miss shots. And on the other end, they were trying to score every single possession. It was truly a basketball game in the fourth quarter. And I thought it was really enjoyable to watch. The players were hustling their butts off. That one play with LeBron, where LeBron took Giannis to the rack and Giannis blocked it. He pinned the basketball on the backboard.
Yeah,
that was crazy. The momentum swings were crazy. I picked Team Giannis to win. I'm not even upset that I didn't get that pick right, just because I'm so content with how that fourth quarter turned out. I mean, the officials were working their tails off too. In that fourth quarter, there was about 3 minutes where there was a foul. It seemed like every other possession. And of course, they were warranted. There was definitely a lot of contact during that fourth quarter. But even the officials, I mean, the broadcast said it. Those guys, they did show up to work thinking that was going to happen. And the players kept them working in that fourth quarter.
I think a sign that showed these guys really were hustling is you got LeBron James yelling at a referee with his whole life, like just freaking out in an All-Star game.
Yeah, they all were. Anytime there was a call, they were all flailing and complaining.
Embiid in the background calling for the technical foul, classic Embiid, which I loved. It was Simmons played a lot,
and we got a Ben Simmons Joel Embiid butt slap. That was something cool to see.
Yeah, I mean I loved that. I mean, I love the chemistry those two had, even opposite teams just going messing with each other. But yeah, I mean it was a great All-Star game, great fourth quarter. I really want to see that go for it. I think they're going to stick with it, obviously. But I'm just really excited to see what they get going forward, some modifications to that. Maybe they only make it 2 halves. Maybe, who knows? Maybe they make more adjustments to it.
Yeah, and I think having the kids there as well for the charities in the stands was an awesome touch because those players were definitely playing a little bit more motivated, seeing those kids there. And it helped with the broadcast too because you start to recognize some of the faces. Their reactions were cool to see. And it gives more players more incentive. I think they all did a really nice job in that fourth quarter. I'm happy for guys like Rudy Gobert, who really impressed in his debut as an All-Star. And a lot of people are clowning him on Twitter saying that he had a ton of screen assists or he rolled to the basket so nicely, things of that sort. But Rudy Gobert had an awesome week, and I'm happy to see that he finally was able to do that. Ben Simmons was able to impress on the national stage. And hey, Giannis Antetokounmpo, man, what is his problem with James Harden? So a couple of years ago, he fires a pass at James Harden, who was right under the basket. And this ball had mustard on it. He threw it as hard as he could. And it doesn't even look like he intended to pass it to his open teammate in the corner. But, of course, he said he did. And it nails James Harden in the face. Everybody thinks it's an accident. Well, during the draft, James Harden, available. Giannis Antetokounmpo doesn't take him because Giannis said he doesn't pass the ball. Well, who led Team LeBron in assists? James Harden. Who had double James Harden's shot attempts from the field? Kemba Walker, the guy Giannis Antetokounmpo wanted and took over James Harden. Now, even after all of that, you could argue it's just playful. After the game, Giannis said their offensive attack was give whoever James Harden was guarding the ball and go right at him. After the game, it's like, yo, I don't know if you got beef with James Harden or what, but let it up, man. Why are you hurting that deep? James Harden held his own. Like I said, the leader in assists, and he had Siakam in the post. He had Embiid he had a couple of guys back him down, and I don't believe any of them scored on him in the fourth quarter in the post. He had a nice job defensively defending the post.
Anthony Davis had a very Steph Curry-esque moment. Steph Curry a couple of years ago, it was like if you make, I forget the implication was, if you make a half-court shot, like 50,000 goes to charity, and he had like 4 chances at it, and he missed all of them. And you got Anthony Davis, $300,000 for kids on the line. He just needs to make a free throw. First one just misses it, and he luckily made the second one, but it was a near $300,000 choke free throw, which I thought was pretty
I was hoping he choked it. You don't want that game to end in a free throw, and I'm sure next year they'll implement that rule if they keep this format that you can't win on a free throw. But, I mean, Jack, you said it perfectly. You're at the park, you're at the rec, wherever you are, you're not ending the game on a free throw. That's just disrespectful to the game of basketball. I don't think any of them wanted to end the game on a free throw. Team Giannis definitely didn't. Team LeBron, if you're in that position, of course, and that's why LeBron was saying game over, game over. But I was hoping Anthony Davis choked that and you got another possession. It was cool that the last basket was going to win no matter what because it was 156 to 155. So down 1 and then down 2. The last basket, regardless of who scored it, was going to win that game.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, I think it was great. I loved it. Anything else you want to add to the All-Star game?
No. It was a great weekend, and you can only hope next year they keep this same format.
All right. Last thing I want to get into here is this week's Fresh Meter All-Star Weekend brings out the best outfits. I got 2 I picked. One is a kind of a basic look. The other I really liked. 2 do you got? Do you got 1 or 2?
I just picked 1 this week.
All right.
And it's my guy.
I'll go with mine first. My first was Giannis. I loved it. It was very basic look. It was just a black zipped up sweater and jeans, but he just pulled it in. You got the gold chain, but simplicity. I loved it. It was a great, just simple look. I think he pulled it off well. That was my first one, and my second is Bam Adebayo. I love that little the side hat and the jacket. He pulled that off. It's impressive going from 20 minutes from in the dunk contest in a complete jersey uniform outfit to run to the locker room to put that whole ensemble on. I thought that was great. That's an impressive feat by all the people that were involved with that. But I love their outfits. Who's your Fresh Meter of the week?
I liked your picks there. I definitely like your picks there. I thought Giannis was looking fly as hell during that dunk competition. I think it was that black and jeans and the chain, so it made it look really cool. My pick was Devin Booker, man. Devin Booker, 2-time Fresh Meter, all right? This dude knows how to dress, and this was in warm-ups, okay? Over his blue pinstripe all-star uniform, he had a Kobe Bryant and Gigi hoodie, and it looks like this was custom designed on the front. It has the city of Los Angeles, a couple of barbed wires. It's purple, gold, and white. It's got Kobe's name on the left side, Gigi's on the right. And on the back, it says Forever, KB, Mamba, GB. And there's a big snake in the middle. There's a rose. There's a couple of barbed wires. It says Father. It was just a really cool design hoodie. And for Devin Booker to pay homage and wear that over the All-Star uniform in warm-ups, I thought it was really cool. Devin Booker, 2-time Fresh Meter. somebody's going to have to knock him off. I just don't know who's going to do it, but this kid knows how to dress.
Yeah, I love that look. I thought that was pretty.
Did you like the uniforms, the All-Star uniforms?
I like the USA and World. I was not a big fan.
Really?
I don't know. I really did like the last couple of years. People are gonna hate. I like the simplistic, just like the logos, the uniform. Or I really do like if you take a look back, they used to do is they make it like the home and away kind of inspired by the city that hosted it. So like there's from like the 70s. There's a Lakers inspired one. There's a Bucks inspired one. Sixers. They pulled it off really well. I really like those looks. Those are my favorites. But I don't know. It seemed too plain to me. It just seemed so basic.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like I mean, like I'm a big fan. Like go like ridiculous. Like I loved like the '90s looks. Like I like
those are unrivaled.
Yeah, those and then like the way throwbacks were my two picks.
I honestly like these uniforms this year. I like the little pinstripe touch. It wasn't an exact pinstripe, but I like the touch. And I thought they kept it simple. It was the logo man on the star. The pants were cool, and the warm-ups are probably my favorite. Everybody really had all white, and I think all white is the most aesthetically pleasing look. So I think the warm-ups look really cool, and I thought the uniforms were fine enough. And especially having all the players wear 2 and 24 was really cool. But somebody tweeted this, Jack, I'm going to put you on the spot. Only one player yesterday wore their true number. Do you know who it was?
Kawhi.
Yeah, Kawhi, number 2.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, he was the All-Star MVP, played great. I mean, he's an LA guy. I like that he got that in tribute to Kobe and everything. But yeah, overall, I felt it was a fantastic All-Star weekend. Anything else you want to add, Brock?
No, like I said, hopefully they could keep the same format. Hopefully the talent or the performers are a little bit better next year. And now you've got about, 29 games for each team for the remainder of the season, so we're going to see who could go on a run here.
Yeah, but be sure to check us out later in the week. Jack will be joining us. We're going to do a whole just NBA rest of the season prediction, speak into existence what we think is going to happen. I got a pretty cool interview coming up. Yeah, I won't release the details yet, but it will be a written interview, some really cool stuff, really good story I want you guys to be able to check out. I'll put that out there when it's out there. Brock, anything else you're working on?
No, not yet. We're going to see what happens. Just floating through the podcast and writing for TPL.
All right. Be sure to follow Brock on Twitter at LandisBrock. Follow myself on Twitter at JackConnellTPL. You can find other Jack on Twitter at JackDuffyTPL. Follow the pod on Instagram and Twitter at PostPositionPod. Find us on iTunes. Leave a 5-star rating. But yeah, I mean, just keep a lookout. Thank you, guys.